COVID and vitamin C. What's the correlation? And Fat Joe, no Diddy. I want to back it up. And Ashanti and Nelly, is it going to hurt them or help them with this new reality show? All this and more on Another Mother, episode 25. Big DC.
When I fight until I see somebody finding their seats, what do they say? Hey. When I fight until I see somebody finding their seats, what do they say? Hey. Would you like coffee, tea, or me? Coffee, tea, or me? Coffee, tea, or me? Coffee, tea, or me?
Nope.
Nope. No more. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Nope. Nope. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Nope.
No. What did you say? No.
And
I
let's
want that.
see, yeah. I wanna
Right?
say no. Ooh, that's funny to even start off the show. People mad. Monica and Brandy is going on tour, and folks is mad that Kelly Rowland is opening up for them. They're like, what the hell? What the hell? And the Destiny Child going on number one hits. Is she opening up for Monica and Brandy? And we had to remind them Monica and Brandy set the blueprint. Don't get it twisted. I'ma be at that concert. The boy is mine. Woo!
Still
Kelly,
smacks.
get that check.
Get that
Let
check,
they say
Kelly.
what they say. Get that check, Kelly.
Get that
Be
check.
humble. We ain't prideful. A show is a show.
Get that
And
check.
and I think Mooney, is it Mooney Long? She's gonna be on tour with
Mooney
them.
Long, yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
gonna.
she has some dope music.
Yeah, exactly.
She has some dope stuff.
I'm really excited. It's just funny how people will find anything to make a story, out tomorrow. She should be opening up for Beyonce. Yeah, Beyonce don't need no damn body to open up for her. Beyonce
Yeah.
is the opening act, the middle act, the main act, and the end goddamn act. She don't need. First of all, it's Roomy show any damn way. Let's just call it space. It is
Yeah.
Roomy,
Yeah.
okay?
This
It's
is
Roomy and Blue Ivy show right now.
Yeah, she's literally just passing the torch. I mean, she's still
No,
effervescent and all
she is.
queen, all that stuff. But yeah, she's passing. I want to use another word, but I know that's a different word nowadays. I want to say grooming, but I know y'all gonna take it and run with it somewhere
Right.
else. But
Right.
she's setting him up. So yeah, no, I mean, because just like you said, a lot of people are like, oh, her and Kelly are still really close and all that.
No.
That don't matter.
Yeah, and I think Kelly Rowland, when I think about from a branding standpoint, you got Monica, Brandy, and Kelly. They all are very similar from a branding
For
standpoint.
sure.
Tall, skinny. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Girls with some beautiful color to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
people don't think about all of those things, but all of those things play a part. She blends, I believe, right in, there. But, people try to compare, Brandy and Monica and Kelly. Those are just, you cannot. Brandy and Monica were way back in the 90s. Destiny's Child came a little bit later on, let's
Mm-hmm.
give respect, what is it? What was that? Never say never. I mean,
Yeah.
Brandy was out there. You hear me with
No.
Mace, or sitting up in my room.
Hey, I had that in a playlist the other day.
I'm Mr.
Hey, that's sitting up in my room, still smack. Hey,
Yeah. Brandy, y'all,
that's
shut
sitting up in my room, still
That's what I want to
smacks.
say. Shut up. Okay?
No.
Shut up, Kelly. Get your check. You are
Yeah,
amazing.
Kelly, get your check. I am interested to see what Kelly's lineup is going to be, though.
Oh, I'm sure motivation would definitely the one with Nelly. That motivation is going to be.
Dilemma.
Is it dilemma or is it motivation? No, it's motivation, right?
They have two. Dilemma was like the astronomical hit.
I thought it was motivation, maybe dilemma, and then she had a really good like rock crossover song. I can't think of the name of it, um, right off the top of my mind. And then the one that I did the content to. Um, you can't bump like this. Y'all wanna dance like this, and I know that the party wanna bump like this. One of the ladies and the dude bump like
Is
this.
that her song or is she featured on
Yes,
that? That's hers?
Eve is featured on that.
He's featured on her song?
Yeah, wow, she started off the show. I'm gonna be losing my mind. So yeah, Kelly got her things and she stand on her own 2 feet, but all those women are amazing. And I absolutely cannot wait to go and see them all in concert. And I swear, I mean Monica and Brandy and Kelly and Mooney all look like they're the same age because they absolutely Monica and Brandy still look good. So anyway, guys, that's kind of off topic, but when we were talking about those other things, I just
Right.
kind of went into when Aunt Wow started singing No, No, No. But anyway, guys, my name is Lisa Renee. If you are new to Another Mother, and this is
Ant Wild, the big black man, and Wheezy. What up?
Wheezy. Now,
What
what
up,
we
though?
want you to do is to get your coffee, get your tea, and get your life. And Wow is drinking life, and I am drinking my tea, guys. And let us apologize. We've been coming, dropping the show a little bit late, but as you guys can imagine, Buckle Your Seatbelts is getting very close. If you are new to our show, Buckle Your Seatbelts is a show that we are doing in Las Vegas. This is an aviation comedy, humor type show, music, singing, dance, historical facts going on, but it's based around aviation. So if you are a traveler, you would really, really enjoy this show. You would really, really get the humor. But if you just like good theater and good acting and want a good laugh, you know what I mean? Come and see Buckle Your Seatbelts. You can go to the Space Las Vegas and get your tickets, or you can go to my website, officiallisarenee.org. Again, officiallisarenee.org and get your tickets for Buckle Your Seatbelt. So we apologize if we'll be coming a little bit late. We will try to post on time, but when we say our backs are up against the wall, it
Man.
is up against the wall. And even we have someone that helps us, but everybody is just stretched really thin right now trying to bring the show together. So we ask for your grace if we post a little bit late, but we will post and we will be consistent. We promise you that because we want to show you, we're going to be talking about a story a little bit later, but we want to show you that you can go through conflict, but you can work through it and you can keep going strong. You don't have to go to the extreme when
Right.
conflict happens. And we're going to talk about a story about that a little bit later. So, as you guys, you might have just saw that clip.
Big Dick Deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
With Cat Williams. So we're gonna go ahead and go into this topic about fat Joe, a lean back. You literally a lean forward, a lean forward, a lean forward. The back, the back. We got you now. You were leaning back, all right. Good God Almighty, our boy Big Joe is the next one that's up that's actually being sued right now for SA. And this is coming from like, what was this, like his hype man, I believe
His
it
hype
was?
man. Yeah, it's coming from his hype man. Yeah, so he coming with some I mean, yeah, I'll let you debut the story because it's coming from his hype man. He was his hype
Uh-huh.
man for a while. Uh
Right.
apparently they parted ways. Uh doesn't seem to be super amicable,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
And so now he's coming with, he coming with the boatload. He's coming with the essay, the underage portion of that as well. And then, but what led the story was the
Hmm.
money part. See, that's what led the story because that's what I was thinking even before I even did any research on it. I was
Hmm.
like, this sounds like it's about some bread, and sure as
Hmm.
heck, when I brought up the first couple links or articles or whatever, it was disturbances around money, and then now all this other stuff is thrown in there. So, um, you know,
It's yeah.
we're living in a very, very, listen, I'm sounding like a broken record, y'all, but listen, we're living in a very, very grubby society, man. Everybody is looking to get pinched. Now, I don't, hey, listen, whether Fat Joe is guilty or innocent, uh, personally, the hip hop fan in me, and I'm sorry if I'm going out of order in this, but Um, the hip hop fan in me, and even deeper than that, just kind of looking at the story, it seems like it was about some money.
Hmm.
And now the new fad now is to throw a bunch of stuff on top of that to inflate the price. So now if the person doesn't want to go to court, when they settle out of court, now the price is inflated as opposed to you just coming in and disputing about money. Now it's got to be the essays part of it. Now there's got to be some
Right.
underage part of it. There's got to be all these trafficking things now. It's
Mhm.
a Listen, hey, listen, it could be happening to everybody in the entertainment world, but I'll definitely tell you who it's happening to because every week we're talking about somebody new and they're all part of the culture that we are part of. I know Fat Joe is Latino,
Yeah.
my Latino brother. Fat Joe is very much aligned with our community and the hip hop community. And once again, it's a here we go, right? It's one of these things. Here we go again. Somebody else that we will look up to that has some that has some power, has some thing. Now all of a sudden, here we go. So I don't. This one here to me seems like it's about some money. Seems like he
Hmm.
feels like he was owed some more money,
Hmm.
and in that it feels like to me that that now in order to get your price inflated, it's like the standard rule now. Throw
Hmm.
in some sort of essay allegations, put some underage in there. He was good friends with Diddy at one point in time. It almost
Hmm.
seems like a playbook because the attorney that Dixon hired, because that's his
Hmm.
name is Dixon. Uh-oh, dropping my phone,
Terrence
y'all.
Terrence T.A. Dixon is his name. Terrence
And
T.
his attorney, um, hmm, ironically, his attorney,
Hmm.
and listen, I'm not judging anybody, but his attorney, just got picked up not too long ago for, let's see, Terrence T.A. Dixon, and then his attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, um, was accused of hitting a process server with his car in New York City and booked on suspicion of assault. Um, so things happen, but I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
hey, Tyrone Blackburn, uh, you know, Terrence probably confided in him, and then now he has this situation. Oh yeah, we can go get a settlement. Whatever attorney will charge, if he doesn't pay him, I'm sure it'll be up to 30%.
Right.
Even if it's $200,000, that's $60,000. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
again, I'm not trying to exonerate anybody, but Fat Joe seems very, very intent on his innocence. So I don't know if this one, you know what I'm saying? Like, unlike, Diddy, no diss to Diddy, but, where there were swirlings for years around that,
Hmm.
this seems to be coming out of left field. I've never heard any swirlings about Joe at all. So
Yeah.
Joe seems like a stand-up cat. I usually kind of keep it impartial. I'm a lean towards Joe on this one.
Absolutely. So if you guys haven't heard what happened, basically Fat Joe is being sued by his former hype man Terrence T.A. Dixon for over a decade of alleged abuse, and he's demanding up to 20 million in damages. So in a lengthy complaint filed in the federal court Thursday, June the 19th, lawyers for Dixon accused the Bronx-based rapper whose legal name is Joseph Cartagena of a
Cartagena.
Cartagena of a deliberate and sustained campaign of exploitation. So graphic was the 157-page filing detailing Cartagena alleged campaign of abuse and criminality, and it contains a trigger warning and a bright red text at the top alerting of the depictions of S traffic and assault to follow. So I don't know if it's true or not. It's right now it's so real, it's hard to say, but like you said, you can look at a person's character throughout the years. A lot of people think like, you don't know a person, you don't know people really tell on themselves more than you.
Really good call.
And so Kind of like, Aunt Wow mentioned, Diddy, a lot of people are not surprised because we have heard a lot of things throughout the years when it comes to Fat Joe. And if I remember, Fat Joe's been married for over 20 years, right?
Yeah, wife is
Mhm.
gorgeous too.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they
So,
got I think they got a son and a daughter. Well, so I think they have two kids, but again, like I say, he has an older son that's like 23 or 24 who's special needs, and the mom left him, so he's had full custody of him this whole time.
yeah, so I mean, it's hard to say, which way it goes. Obviously, if this did happen, pay him his 20 million. But I do know that Fat Joe said that these are absolutely disgusting lies. So more to come on this story, guys. I just that's all I can say is really more to come on this story because there's just so much going on. So I don't know if you guys heard about this. It got a little traction, but a lot of people have. I've heard some people talk about it, not many. But I heard the video. So Tiffany Haddish said if you have more than one baby mama, um, you have no, if you have more than one baby father,
Right.
you have mental issues. And so I think this was a podcast she had did a couple of months ago. And she was going into the soul ties and all of these type of things, spirituality, that all, that people talk about, everybody you've been with, you have a soul tie to this. I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna come and say it. I'm against whatever. I think that's some bullshit. No, disagree, disagree. Okay. Anthony and I are grown, and we have slept with people, and I can guarantee you, ain't no bit more tied, no shit, no nothing over here. Matter of fact, we don't think 2 seconds about they sorry behind. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is we start these trends, and people start believing in this hype. But see, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I believe that your sins can be removed. And I believe you can pray things in a certain type of way. But what I do not believe that just because you've laid down this, you've cut bull crap. You just got another notch. That's all. I mean, got another notch. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And it was what it was at that time and moment. But once that time and moment is over, it is over. It is over. The only person you got a soul tie with is because you connect yourself with that person. If you constantly think about that person, you're constantly looking at that person's social media, you're constantly doing those things to keep those people in your mind, you are the one that's keeping a soul tie. But I'm sorry, I don't believe in the soul tie bull crap. I think it's all bull crap. And as much as I love Tiffany Haddish as a comedian, as an actress, I disagree with that. I don't believe that women that have, more, children by different fathers have mental health issues. You know what people got mental health issues? Trying to survive in this damn world. That's what we got mental health issues with. You understand what I'm saying? As a mother to a non-mother, Tiffany, because you're not a mother, you cannot walk the walk or talk the talk if you haven't been in those situations and understand. I know women who have been married and loyal to people for years and their husbands cheated on them. What could they do? Nothing. And they've remarried and had kids with their new husband, and they're still happily married. Do they have soul ties with the ex-husband? No, they ain't thinking about his sorry behind. They have a soul tie with that person that they're with, and they're living their best life. So I'm telling you guys, do not let these mental things that people create on this social media mess you up. You do not have no soul ties. Whoever you slept with, say, that is my past. Thank you for the lesson that I learned from that past. I am moving forward with someone new. Better.
Mm,
How about that? So,
mm,
yeah. Did you hear it?
mm.
I heard it. I heard her actually.
Yeah, no, I heard it. I have an interesting take. I don't First of all, I'm not tied to either opinion. So I don't disagree with anything you said. Like I don't disagree. I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes
Right,
to this. I
right.
do think it's interesting though. Her philosophy was interesting. I
Some
don't know if
points,
I agree with it,
yeah.
but
Hmm.
it was interesting. Um, and I do think that there is possibly um there could be some truth to that from a scientific level. There's no basis of it, but there could be. Um, there could be. I mean, all of the stuff that has been said is, like she was really more talking about, and I don't feel like pulling up everything she said, but
Yeah.
to kind of paraphrase and correct me if I paraphrase incorrectly, but she was pretty much saying that, when you sleep with that person, you as a woman, you get impregnated by that person. Then as a result of that, the DNA is in you. That's what your DNA, and that DNA creates the baby. The baby leaves um uh remnants, for better lack of a better word. I'm looking for a more scientific word.
No,
It's
that
right
makes
on the tip of my tongue, but I can't find it. But imprints, that's the word I was looking for. They leave imprints on you because they're taking from you, because they're dependent on you to be nurtured, to be developed, right? And that is as a result of both of you guys, right? And
hmm
so then when the baby leaves, then some of that's in you. And then if you go do with another dude and then another dude, then all of those imprints are left within you. And then that as could create mental issues. Um, that's an interesting philosophy.
Yeah,
Again,
but that's not the
I don't know if I agree with it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
But
because the egg, when first of all, go ahead, Ace. I'm sorry, but if you understand how the egg and the creation of the shedding after that, no, it's not left inside of you. But go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say I don't have a dog in the fight, right? You know me, I'm abstract. So sure, that's an interesting philosophy.
It
Sure.
is. You
You know what
said
I'm
it
saying?
right. It is.
Yeah, that's why I started off saying that's an interesting philosophy. You know me, yeah, sure, okay. That's an interesting philosophy, sure.
Right.
Um, Again, like I said, when I started, I don't know if I agree with that, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But that's an interesting philosophy. Um, I will say this, just as far as the sleeping, because now I'm going to separate from that, because that's different than just sleeping with somebody.
hmm
I will say this. First of all, I don't disagree with what you said, but I will say this, though. I will say this, and this is just personal for me. This has nothing to do with anybody else. I don't really care if anybody agrees or disagrees. But I actually got this, what I'm about to say, that I've then internalized and personalized for myself. I actually got this from hearing somebody's sermon. I can't remember whose sermon it was, but
hmm
it was a brother's sermon, and he was talking about, like, he was really talking from the perspective of a man. Like, I know it's cool to come out here and do all these things, but you go sleep with this woman, and then, like, a lot of times it may be hard to kind of find what you're looking for, because you go sleep with this woman, and you go sleep with this woman, and then you still got that woman on you, and then you go, and then you still got that woman on you, and then you go, and then now all of a sudden your spirit is confused, and you're not then getting what you're looking for, because there's too many fuzzy targets don't get hit, right? So there's too many things that are going on within your spirit, especially if you're not prepared to how to compartmentalize the actions that you're taking, how that can affect you. So then I started thinking about that particular portion, and I said, okay, I can see where that has legs, because especially as I've gotten older, I've always been very picky. But
Right.
especially as I've gotten older, that's always been me. But especially as I've gotten older, particularly from the standpoint of, I remember having a conversation with a very close friend of mine.
hmm
This was years ago. And as men, a lot of times, because I'm saying this man to man, this has nothing to do with ladies. I know ladies would be like, yes, you are correct. I'm really just talking as a brother.
hmm
A lot of times the men are stupid. I don't even know if you're stupid, because then that sounds cliche. Men are stupid. I don't even want to say that. We're very Neanderthal in a lot of ways. And here's what I mean. A lot of times we will, if there's an opportunity, especially with somebody that's attractive, you know, there is, and this is true. I 1000% agree with you on this. I agree with everything you said, first of all, but I'm really going to pinpoint a point that you made when you said the soul tie. Yeah, right. You just slept with that person, and it is what it is. Very, very true. 1000% agree. However, especially as a man, that can get complicated when you try and apply that same philosophy to somebody that you do have a connection with. And that's where men get it messed up. See, because, and I was having a conversation with a very good friend of mine about a very good friend of mine about this conversation years ago, because I was telling him that just because you went through all this stuff with a woman who was your girl, she's no longer your girl. But simply because she came back into the picture, men, we think, oh, well, shoot, I could tap that. So I'm gonna tap it, right? But she wasn't good for you. See what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why you guys aren't together today,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you decide that you are going to stay in that space with this woman who wasn't good for you, and you didn't do anything to compartmentalize those feelings,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to find yourself repeating a lot of the same actions. And
Right.
then you will then be blurring your spirit on that. I do think there is something to that, because me personally, I was talking about that situation with a situation that I was in that Lisa Renee is very familiar with. And um, it has nothing to do with attraction because she's gorgeous, right? So it has nothing to do with attraction. But I remember in that conversation, because he was a little defensive in what I was saying, oh, this and that and the third. So then he then said, if I won't say her name, but if such and such comes up right now, you mean to tell me, you know what I'm saying? Like you're over her and all that kind of stuff. You mean to tell me you wouldn't? I said, I wouldn't even, not even with yours. And obviously I was a lot more explicit when I said that. I said, not even with yours, because the way in which I separated from her, when I separated from her, I literally left because I was like, look, man, I'm gonna take my ball and go home. I've been sitting here trying to play it your way, and it ain't been working out for me. I've been getting skunked. I've been getting whooped over here. You know what I'm saying? So then if I then, in that instance, a lot of times when women say self-worth, or oh baby, you gotta love yourself, I think men think that's just a woman thing. I don't think we realize the power of that then from a man's side too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you got to have more respect for how you're moving. Because if you just say this woman comes and you're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I could just do it just because. Well, then guess what? Rarely does it happen like that. You guys find yourself in familiar routine, but then that routine wasn't healthy. See what I'm saying? So now you're wearing a whole bunch of stuff on you that other women can see, right? Like other women, I know a lot of times when I'm around and this and that and the third, I could tell, certain people are looking at me. They be like, dang, well, why do they respond to you this way? First of all, I'm not out here saying I'm the bee's knees or nothing, but
Yeah.
there are times where they respond to me a certain way. And that's because I don't have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have all that on me. So that's very attractive. I'm very clear, right? So when I'm not wearing all that, guess what? I then don't bring a lot of baggage. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So those philosophies that's completely separate from, in a lot of ways, from what Tiffany was talking about. I just want to go down that path because I do think there is something there. I didn't explain it nearly as eloquently as the brother did who sermon I caught that particular day, but I do remember that resonated with me because I do remember making certain choices. Now, mind you, this is after the choices I made. So I already made my choices and I compared myself to how clear I was after I made certain choices, then how muddy I was before I decided to make certain choices. You see what I'm saying? When I decided to be more clear and like when that separate, for instance, when that situation was being separated, I didn't do anything. That is a lot of times, especially with men, they'll break up with their chick or whatever, and the first thing they got to do is they got to get out and get on something because they're without. So you know what I'm saying? They don't want to take the time to be by themselves. I intentionally did that. I intentionally, like for 8 months, I didn't do anything, like nothing. I don't even want to get explicit on it, but when I say nothing, I mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed to clear that completely off of my deck.
Right.
So in that standpoint, I could, again, this particular topic I could talk over. I know I've been talking a while. I'll wrap it up, but wrap it up. But pun intended. But that particular part, there may be something there. Mine is really more from a man's standpoint. Women are internal, so it actually might be more relevant in that particular case, but that's something a little. I hear what Tiffany was saying, but I'm not really saying what I'm saying like in total support of that. I'm
Right.
just saying separate from that, that's an interesting topic because I do feel like there may be something there. And then I also want to touch on something real quick too that I saw was interesting about her bringing that up because then who does that target most likely? That particular, especially in the language in which you used it in, that targets black women, right? So I know that I saw that there was a lot of feedback, pushback on that. Like, here we are again with somebody speaking in a way that denigrates us, right? And so I thought that was an interesting take because I didn't really think about that portion of it.
I didn't. I
Uh,
think it happens in all races. I don't think all races buy into the soul ties. I think that's something that we have trickled down. And I really believe that if you are bouncing around from person to person to person to person to person, there's probably some deeper things that are going on other than really just a soul tie. It's probably just some things that you need to deal with that only you know that you need to deal with. But I believe that there are power in your words and what you say. And if you allow things to get in your mind and get in your spirit, those things will become a reality, right? What you think is what you become of, and it becomes action. That's why it's very dangerous to play with words like KILL. I'm going to do that to you playfully, and that's going to go into the next, story, Ace, that we're about to talk about. Tiffany, I love you. And wow, we love you. Come on the show. Let's all really talk about it because like Aunt Wow says, your philosophy was good. But I gotta, support the mothers because I'm the mom out of you, Aunt Wow. I'm the mom, and I know that crazy stuff happens with your significant other that sometimes are within your control and sometimes without. But for people who are generally not out there sleeping around, you know what I mean? They have long-term relationships like Aunt Wow and us, and then they take the time, to take a break, and then they get with someone new. Man, ain't no soul ties with that. We ain't thinking about that person. You know what I'm saying? It is a rap. And that is what I speak. That is what I put in my mind. That's what I put in my actions. I love Julian. Julian is the fine. Catch me with this. Julian is the finest thing walking to me. There will be no other person other than Julian. He will be my forever love. See those words? See the power of speaking things in fruition. But if you take this negativity, I'm this, I'm still, I'm that, it will become a reality. It will, I'm telling you, there are power in your words. But I agree with Aunt Weezy. I agree with a lot of things that he said, especially the one with regarding the men. But as a life coach, I feel like those issues are a little bit deeper. But Tiffany, come holler at your girl. Come check us out on Buckle Your Seatbelts. I know if you come in the audience, people may have a fit, but check out the stream version and then let's talk business after you see Buckle Your Seatbelts. We love you, Tiffany. But Aunt
can I
Wow, we
can
gotta
I
go
say
to the
something real,
show.
real quick
Oh,
on
go
that?
ahead. Yeah, of course.
The whole way you spoke about that is the example that I said from the standpoint of this. Again, I could talk about this all day, but from the standpoint of this, um, I love Julian. He's the finest thing walking, X, Y, and Z. You're not thinking about the other person, whatever, whatever. That's because the way in which you moved was healthy. That's actually my point. I do think there could, if you're bouncing around and bouncing around, yes, there is absolutely something within you that's probably not right. It's probably not as simple as just the soul tie or whatever that is. But what I'm saying is as a result of you not being right, you're then opening up yourself and your spirit to then be influenced by all this stuff that is affecting you already internally because you haven't taken the time to build a solid foundation within yourself. And that's why I'm saying in that standpoint, I do kind of see where there's legs there. I do kind of see where there's legs there.
Some people's spirit is dead. And normally when you do that, that spirit is dead. And sometimes it takes something very tragic or significant to wake that spirit up. But people who tend to operate in that, not responsible people, right? Because there are people who are very responsible, like, hey, but this is friends with benefits, we protect ourselves, we get you. We're not lumping everybody. We're talking about the people that are probably really dealing with things underneath and they just don't care. They just go around giving people diseases. And that's going to tie into the story that we're about to talk about between Duchess Dorr. Duchess Dorr was Shotdead by her husband during a Facebook live stream. Woo! Aunt Wow sent me this story, guys. Aunt Wow, do you want me to take it or did you want to start
Yeah,
it?
you could go. You can go.
This is this is pretty powerful and it ties into kind of what we've been talking about week after week after week. And guys, I'm gonna rock my fur mood glasses. If you want to get these glasses, go to my description. You will see my code. So there was a live. The husband, Sharmarcus Carr, was talking about some of the things that he experienced with Khadija or Zaria is her name, I believe. I think Khadija is her middle name. Sharmarcus and Khadija met when she was working as a correction officer, and he was actually locked up at that time. But anyway, he was on a live, just to fast forward to now. He was on a live. They're married. They have a daughter, I believe, who's so cute. I saw her with this cute little, I think, African bonnet. I don't know if you saw that picture of her. And wow, so adorable, but also sad looking at this little baby because right now she doesn't have her mother or father. But he's on live, telling his story of some things that has happened with him and Zaria. And for the most part, and well, I would say he seems pretty cool, pretty level-headed. He doesn't even seem like he is lying at all. I have a bullshit, I mean, barometer. Like I can, when you try, I just don't even try me. Even if I don't tell you, I know. Just got that gift. Even you. So when I can tell you he was being very truthful, he was being very, very truthful on some things. Now, the way men spin details and the way women spin details, maturity, we spin it differently, but we're saying the same thing. And when you mature, you will understand that the way men communicate and the way women communicate are differently, but yet the same thing. So he's speaking his truth, but because women's communication is completely different, the wife is in the background. No, it didn't happen. And da 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 da. And he's like, "Well, is this true? Okay, tell me where the lie is." Oh, okay. It's just that we communicate differently, and I would encourage. I'm just going to speak to my women. The sooner you can learn that, the less arguments you will have with your significant other. Don't mean every day is perfect because when you're raised differently, they're raised differently. You're going to bump heads, but just understand that we do communicate differently. There used to be a book, I think it was Men Are From Venus or Women from Mars or
Men are from Mars,
Men Are From Mars, Women Are from
women are from Venus.
when that book, it is still very relevant today. It's a very good book for people that are trying to build relationships as well as the love language. Those are another ones that really just help you to learn how to communicate. And in this video that you're seeing, Shamarcus as well as Zaria struggle with communication. But where I take up for Zaria on this, Zaria is 27. A lot of people, if they haven't had examples, if 27, you haven't gotten it yet. You have to go through some rounds before you learn how to deal with conflict resolution. And I say that because a lot of people in the comments was really talking about her. She had messed around, but he had messed around too. They both messed around, on each other. But at 27, it's easy for me at my age to be like, oh, she should have been blah, 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 stop, da, 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 da. A lot of women in their 20s, excuse me, loud mouth. Now I didn't have a screechy voice like hers. It's a little bit different, but a lot of us don't know how to control our anger, right? And it can get the best from us. So we have to learn to grow, to be more mindful of our actions and our delivery. And Aunt Wow and I can just tell you, we've had some stuff that happened in this past week. We still got to grow and learn that. So I cannot judge Zaria because Zaria is 27 and she's still trying to grow into who she is. However, long story short, I think it went on for like over an hour, right? And wow, of Shamarcus just telling way too much of his business. I don't understand airing all these negative things out, but he aired a lot of stuff out about himself as well as about Zaria.
You're running and appealing to this court of public opinion for people who only want to see the soap opera. See what I'm saying?
That's
So
the
like
life. The
They
197.
only want to see the soap opera. So it's all you're already able to be charged up by yourself. To recap, you
Mm-hmm.
have somebody there. You're already able to be charged up. Now you throw live into it, which let's just go by the stats that they give. 10% of the people that engage, it's actually out of 100% of the people that look at something, 10% engage. So if 197 people liked it, it's possible that 1970 people were watching. So now you have all these comments and stuff flooding in. You got all this going on. Your conflict resolution skills aren't the best. You have a lot going on in your personal life, which is actually affecting your social media persona, because a lot of the stuff that you're posting gives the impression that you guys are the golden couple. See what
Mm.
I'm saying? So now there's other layers to that. How dare you talk to me this way? You see what I'm saying? How dare you talk to me this way? Look at all this fuel that you're getting. You know what I mean? Then it ends abruptly, and then so the story goes. And for what? You see what I'm saying? Regardless of what she was doing. For what? You know what I mean? For you too. For real? Get up out of there. This is what I'm saying. Like, what are you talking about? I remember, I don't know if I've told this story on this platform or not, but I've told it to anybody who will listen, especially a close friend of mine. When I was around 21 years old, there was this girl I was messing with, and she was a hood, she was a hood girl,
Mm-hmm.
and she was about that action. Right? She was an Oakland girl. You know, hey, listen, all my area. You've heard me say numerous times, Oakland is literally one of my favorite places on earth. But y'all know what it is. She was an Oakland girl. So, she was, me. She was, she was with the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular point in our, I don't even know, I don't know if we want to say courtship. I don't even know what you want to call it. We were already kind of on the outs. There was already kind of things that I was seeing that I didn't like. There was already kind of things about me that she saw that she didn't like. Maybe she realized I wasn't with all the dumb stuff that she thought I'd be with, because I had the braids and the flannel and all that stuff. Maybe because I was doing my drinking and all that other kind of stuff, and we would bond over that. Maybe she thought I was with more of the F stuff than I was. So it was mutual. There was a lot of things about her that I was like, yeah, I'm cool. And there was a lot of things about me. She was like, yeah, you ain't the thug I thought you was. Nah, don't do that stupid stuff is what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, instead of just being a certain way, she wanted to push my buttons. And she did. It worked. She kept doing and saying things to push my buttons. And I was doing pretty good until she made a comment about my mom. And I lost it. I lost it. I'm yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs, all the kind of stuff, this and that, and the third. Everybody's like, Aunt, chill out. The neighbors are coming because we're in one of her best friends at the time's apartment, and I'm yelling and all that kind of stuff and woo woo. And I remember on the way home, it's me and my guy, Tanette. Shout out to Tanette. And I remember I was so mad. Tears were coming down my face. And I remember saying, if anybody ever, I don't care if we're married, 7 kids, we're living on the house in the hill, white picket fence. The next woman that gets me to the point where I see red, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because I don't want to entertain none of that space with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of it. I don't want to entertain any of that space. So now we're in this situation. She's stepping out on you. You should have left her. You should have left her. I wish you would have left her because you would both be here.
I
I
know.
don't want to talk about this. I would much rather, I didn't know who you two were before this incident happened. I would much rather not know who you were and discover who you were, discover who you are a year down the line, where I authentically run into you, maybe through a post when I'm on my F stuff and I go through a social media feed and I see you guys doing whatever. I would much rather find out that way than find out who you guys are based on this situation. Over what?
Yeah.
Because who did what to who? Over what?
Yeah.
Like over she stepped out on you a few times, you stepped out on her a few times. Okay. She was popping off at the mouth. Yeah, she probably shouldn't have. Okay. She was entering a space with you where you were telling her, because you did say, I agree, When somebody says man or female, but especially if a male is trying to be cool and he's like, hey man, back up off me, give me some space, you need to take the caution that you then took when it was already too late, when he already passed the point of red, take some cautionary notes before that point. You
Yeah.
know what? I'm gonna step up off this cat. This cat here is tripping. You can deflect. You can make it all about him, but leave him alone, though.
Right.
Right? Leave
Right.
him alone, though. You
Mm.
can step up. You can make it about him. This cat tripping. He over here. You know what, girl? I'm just gonna give him space. You can do whatever you want. Leave him alone. If he's saying leave me alone, leave him alone. We
Right.
both, men and women, we have to respect. If the woman is saying leave me alone, leave her
Alone.
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 Leave her alone. Like leave her. You want to be alone? You got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got it. Now we should be able to talk through this. But if you're at the space where it can really go left, leave that person alone.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. It's not, who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So that's why, unfortunately, we're talking about the incident, but my whole thing was really more just on again, man, like we got to be more careful out here, man. We got to start checking ourselves a little bit more, a lot more. Like we're running to this court of public opinion. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're about to talk to 15, 200, 1,500, 2,000 people who don't know who they follow you. They
Yeah.
don't know who you are. All they want to do is say they answer. You can post 20 great posts. They're positive and everything. And you'll get some like, oh yeah, baby girl, or yeah, my brother, I see you, X, Y, and Z. You'll get on there with a little bit of drama and your attention span will increase by 20x because that's what they're there for. And it's running to this court of public opinion. I see everything. Everybody runs to they gotta run to anything, something happens,
Yeah.
especially drastic. Now, good stuff, I'm with that,
Yeah.
right? I still kind of reserve some stuff because I'm still a little too old. I need to work on that. Actually, I'm as far as the new school space, I will check myself. Like I'm trying to get better at it and just being more involved because I understand. But I'm an old school. I'm in the moment. But whatever. But with this bad news stuff. Yeah, the first place you go is, you know how many times I see a post that just happened. I can't believe it. Like it just happened or it happened a week ago. Like
Right.
it just happened.
Yeah.
And the first place you did thing you thought of, you didn't pick up the phone to text your best friend or call your best friend or call a family member and say, hey, this happened. The first thing you did, something happened tragic. I gotta go to Facebook.
Yeah.
What? For real? That's where we're at? So this story hit that for me in this standpoint, from the standpoint of, I understand my brother was on there. I didn't see, it sounds like, I mean, I saw some of it. I didn't see all of it, but it sounded like he was talking. I know a good portion of what I saw is when it kind of got conflictual. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I did read in a certain couple places where he was kind of telling his story, and I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I watched the entire thing, and he was really, people were saying that they felt like he was on his last straw, but I watched it probably about 3 times and I didn't get that from, I just thought he just needed a place to vent, and celebrities do it. We know Cardi B, and Offset have had their public, like I said, this age group is a little bit different than our age group. But I really didn't see him, and I really believe if she had given him his space, I don't think it would have escalated. Because he
Yeah,
forgave her, actually. He was like, she's my wife. So it looked like he took the loyalty of marriage very serious. And if anybody knows them, feel free to, drop a comment, talk to us about that, subscribe, do share this video. But if you know more about them, please let us know. But from what I gathered watching it over and over and over and over and over again, um, I think if she had just given him a little space, and I'm not, again, 27, she had to grow. So I
27.
get it. She's 27, guys. Give her grace.
She's
But I think
27.
if she had backed off a little bit, he would have been okay. Although at 36, he should have had better self-control too as well. And I do also disagree, and while we're kind of piggybacking on this a little bit, this story. How do I say this? A lot of people say in the comments they're toxic They didn't deserve to be with one another, blah, 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 this. Let me tell you about a lot of people that I've known who's been together for 20, 30 years. When they started, they were toxic too.
Mm.
The difference between these couples, if you talk to them, they had to get help. They had to go to counseling. They had to grow up and mature and learn better techniques of how to communicate through their differences. And it takes time. I'm sure Aunt Wow can tell you, I can just tell you I'm in a more newer relationship than Aunt Wow. I'm telling you, in almost going on 2 years, how much I've had to grow in a short time because when you want something to work and you do love and care for someone, as much as you want to do things the way you want to do things, you have to be mindful of someone else. And some people say, oh, you just got to collaborate. No, sometimes you got to compromise. I just got to let this fold. I'm going to let this go. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go and eat this one. I'm going to go and eat for the greater good of the relationship. For the greater good, I'm going to have to just eat this right now. And so I want to say that anybody can be toxic, but if they get the right help and they're willing to get the right help and they're willing to do the stuff that can work, and there are couples, I know one that I don't know if I ever talked about, Mark, I think it's Mark Gungor. He has a series, Laugh Your Way to a Happy Marriage. He's on his second marriage, not because he divorced his first wife. Unfortunately, she died of cancer. They were married for 34 years. And he has a series of trying to give people techniques on things that work. Now, it's not bulletproof for, excuse me, everybody. But I'm sure if we take a lot of techniques, like the book I talked about, Love Languages, if you know that book about love languages, or like we talked about, Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus, people write these self-help books to give us tools to learn how to communicate. And they don't give you these tools because they were perfect. They give you these tools because they had to bump their head until they finally got it right. So if you want to get into a long-term relationship and you want to play to win, you gotta do the rules to play to win. Anthony comes from parents being together until transition. Anthony and his siblings, they come from loyalty. They're very loyal. He needs to, Anthony, I really believe Anthony needs to write a book on relationships. He's not married, but I'm telling you, as his friend, he's dialed in when he's in a relationship. The marriage part is just a paper. He's loyal. His mother and father were loyal to the end. And it's hard to find people like that. That doesn't mean everything was perfect in relationships.
Nope.
You have to grow. You have to learn. You have to do. It's so funny at the studio. I hope Aunt Wild's okay if I share this, but I think it's very cute, and I think men can learn. We'll be in the studio and be like, "Wait a minute, let me call Neve. I gotta let her know we going to go to In and Out. Okay, let me call Neve so I can let you know what I'm saying. Or he's be like, I'm not gonna bother Neve. This is like her day. Like he respects the boundaries, and those are the things that you have, guys. I'm telling you, for those who want to be in a relationship. Don't believe the hype. There is a science and a formula to win. And maybe it might take some different corners that you try it, but it's all still the same. Communicating healthy gets you to the finish line. Communicate reckless, it doesn't work. And it's hard and it takes a lot of work, to be able to get there and do it. And also to have, and anger is normal. But when you've learned these conflict resolutions, you don't let your anger go but so far. And that's where I said they hadn't been, they haven't gotten the help to know not to. They could have had a disagreement. That's normal, guys.
Yeah, no.
Don't believe the movies. Everything is perfect. Oh, we don't
No.
have problems. That's bull.
Hey,
Every relationship has some type of conflict.
ninja, please.
Don't let
Every
them fool you. Oh,
relationship
we
got
don't
some got
argue.
some issues,
We don't
bruh.
argue. Yes, you do. And if you don't argue, that means I can tell you somebody is compromising and they're going to blow at any moment. So
Yeah.
I want you guys to know that conflict is normal. How you deal with conflict is going to determine the longevity of your relationships. That's even friendships. And you think it's just your relationship. It's parents, it's siblings, It's friendships like me. Communication is critical in all these areas. And I'm encouraging you guys learn from their story. Keep your mess off of social media, like Aunt Wow said. I know my son's age, aunt stepkids. I know this is what y'all do, but I'm telling you, it doesn't serve any good purpose. Give yourself private time to try to figure it out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you can't turn, we can never get Zaria and Sharmarcus back.
Yeah, that was the very well said, everything you said. And that was the whole point of it. Like that's why it stuck out to me because they're not here anymore.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying from the standpoint of because we can get into the tids and the bits and the weeds about what happened. We know there were mistakes, right? But I mean, I don't want to overly uh, I'm just talking about the situation, how let this be an example kind of thing of
yeah,
maybe exercises and actions to take before that. Like he was like, for instance, this would have been great because again, I didn't want to know who you guys were. Not like this. Like, I wish you guys were here. It moved me when I ran across the story. Um, but
that's
it's like you said, she was only 27, still 27, whatever.
right.
He was 36.
36.
So, yeah, she shouldn't have been out there popping off at the mouth. But also, you're on here, you're doing your thing. Once it even started to go left, all right, y'all, let me get back at y'all.
Right.
Like, you cut that.
Yep.
That's where you as the man, especially being older, regardless of what age you are, but especially being older, especially, hey, listen, all my boys tell you, I don't throw around the king thing. And this is men, this has nothing to do. I know a lot of times I say these things around women. They'd be like, oh, yes, yeah, get him. I'd be like, yeah, but I'm really talking on some man stuff. Like, yo, I don't throw the word king around loosely. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we kings. Yeah, that wasn't very kingly, homie. Like, you know what I mean? Because I've had it said to me. Trust me, I'm not just out here, hey, listen, I've had it, hey, dog, that wasn't very righteous. And wow, damn, that wasn't, huh?
Right.
Damn. Okay. Just like we don't use the word love lightly, I don't use the word like that lightly. I don't use the word king lightly. I don't use the word queen lightly. So in that moment, be the royalty that you are, my brother. Hey, listen, hey man, listen.
We just want to talk about it and I just want to share this because I don't know, Aunt While if you knew Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom broke up and they've been together for almost a decade. They
I was
have
about to
a
say they've been
daughter.
together for a minute.
Yeah, I think their daughter's name is Daisy Dove, which is just a beautiful. And so I share that to say relationships, money, no money, rich, poor, middle class, get this through your head. It happens to everybody. Because
Yeah,
people, when all the money is gone, all the makeup is gone, all the glam is gone, people are people at the
facts.
end of the day. And just keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead and move on. So, guys, vitamin C and COVID, right now they're saying that COVID statistics are starting to rise. They are starting to rise. So, we just wanted to put out there that the good old vitamin C has been known to shorten the stay of these intensive viruses that are going on in our body, even pneumonia, even sepsis. Studies are showing that vitamin C, the simple little pill vitamin C that any of us can purchase, it's not that expensive, is one thing that will fight these acute infections. So be mindful. If you see people sniffling, coughing, and all this type of stuff, they're saying COVID is on the rise again. And we know that COVID took a lot of people out. So just try to get your daily dose of vitamin C. All right, guys, let's move on. Nelly and Ashanti, I don't know if you saw the trailer. They have a new reality show. I thought the trailer was really, really cute. But the question we have for you guys is reality going to help them or hurt them? And I would have to say, I don't know. I really don't know. I believe, didn't Nelly have a reality show already? His
Did he
ex-girlfriend?
have a reality show? Welcome to Nellyville or something? I feel
Yeah, I
like he
thought
may
he did.
have.
And I felt like his ex-girlfriend was on that show. And so I wonder, maybe Ashanti looks like, and listen, I'm getting that check. I'm the wife, or whatever. But I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know if that, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't hey listen, they're getting the check. What network is it going to be on?
What is YNW?
Um, I don't know. Might be a sub. Well,
Oh,
so Y&W must be a subsidiary of Peacock because it's on Peacock.
it's
Okay.
okay. Okay.
Okay. So I asked that for a reason. Because
Yeah,
obviously,
Peacock. It's a P. Okay, you're right.
yeah, it's on
Peacock.
Peacock.
Okay.
So obviously, and I don't mean this by no way, because listen, you guys are in the position, you guys have done the work to be in this position for them to
Yeah.
offer you a reality show and for you to get a check. And obviously, it's Nelly and Ashanti. You guys have to quote the newer lingo, you guys have spun the block, which means you guys have circled back around. You guys were together from like 2003 to 2013 and ended badly. Y'all hated each other, all that kind of stuff. You guys are back together. A good tale of young black love, all the things. I'm a little skeptical, kind of like Lisa, from the standpoint of you didn't really need the public to get back together. You know what I mean?
The show is We Belong Together. The couple delve deep on their 2-decade-long love story from those early tumultuous years to their marriage and parenthood, all while balancing their successful R&B and hip hop careers and fast-paced lifestyles.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like in that, because obviously producers, as they should, right? This is their job. Not that I agree with it, but this is their job. They're going to obviously encourage topics that are going to be messy. Weren't we just talking about all that? Or
Yeah.
didn't we just spend a half hour talking about that? They
Yeah.
were going to encourage topics that are going to revisit a lot of the pain you both felt as a result of you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
breaking up. And like, I remember I seen like a clip, I think they were on the Breakfast Club, and Ashanti was talking about, like I think they asked her how did her mom feel, and she was like, "Well, my mom was hurt because I was hurt, and this and that and the third, and that's my best friend." And so, the whole way it was she was talking, it was kind of like, like she was super duper hurt, and Nelly hurt me and X, Y, and Z, and Nelly had to step in and be like, "Well, look, let's keep it a real. Like, she's talking about how much she was hurt. I was really, really hurt. Like." Like I was really, really hurt. Like, and everybody kind of laughed and whatever, whatever. But I guess that's kind of like my point. Like,
Let that be.
that can then cause a strain on the direction that you guys might go naturally in, because it's one thing to have these conversations when you're by yourself, because it's going to get nasty a little bit. It has the possibility, because you may not always understand the other person's perspective in the decisions they made to move in a certain way in regards to the situations you guys were in the past. So in that, there could be some turmoil. Again, that's by yourself, let alone through some producers and stuff in the room that amplifies it, let alone throw in however many million people are going to be watching and that are going to be coming back. And then you guys are going to be doing these shows and reunion
Right.
shows and all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of people in your business.
Mhm.
I understand the money. I get it. Again, you guys have been famous for almost 30 years. Well, especially Nelly. Well, Ashanti too. I get it, right? You're in this position. I'm sure Peacock is breaking you off to do it, which is why I asked about the network. Because I'd really be like, heck no, if you was on whatever, but you're on something like Peacock. I know Peacock wrote a good check for you guys to be on there. I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Not dissing it. You earned the spot to be able to do that. I personally actually like you guys together. And so with that being said, I feel like it's too accessible for us to get on a show and just air. I'm not saying this applies to Nelly and Ashanti at all. So I'm not trying to put this jacket on them. I'm just talking in general, which is why it's my concern for them specifically. But I feel like I feel like at times what we'll get out of being on something outweighs what could possibly be conflictual down the road at the end of this journey. And I don't know if the check a lot of times is worth that. I don't know if that happened with Tiana and Amon, right?
Yeah.
They were smooth sailing before that show. Again, you know me, I've been on record saying it a few times. I really liked them together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like Nelly and Ashanti together. When they broke up, I was like, I wasn't happy that they broke up. Now Ashanti is bad, so if I happened to meet her when she was single and I was single, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I joke, I kid.
Yeah.
But so I don't, I don't know if I love it, but that's just me. I, you know, I'm always a believer in you can share experiences without having to, you know, with my relationships, it's kind of like, less is more. You know what I mean? The more people that ain't in our business, the better we do. You know what I'm saying? The more influences we don't have, the better we do. Because then we just occupy a space that's awesome, like the vast majority of the time. And you know, I just hope I hope you guys are I hope this fairy tale that we have seen from the both of y'all continues to last. More importantly, if it does start to get a little tense, I hope you guys have the tools, back to what Lisa said on the life coach tip. I hope you guys have the tools to be able to recognize it in the moment, sit down with each other, and then decide that this is something you still want to do. For the sake
Absolutely.
of being together.
Yeah.
Uh, because y'all seem cool together. Like, Ashanti, like I said, Ashanti's always been bad. Let's start there. But more so, the reason I say that is because you can just tell I like a girl who just seems like an authentic girl. Like anytime I've seen Ashanti in interviews, she ain't no prissy, whatever. She's a girl that grew up with us, like type stuff. Like I like women like that are just good, strong, what I mean, women that it's not all about the fluff. And so and Nelly always seems like a cool dude.
Mhm.
I just hope you guys are able to, in the moment, if it starts to get tense, because they've already made the decision not to blur out their son, which I like that decision. I guess Nelly said it was more her decision, but I do like that if you decide that that's not something you want to do. So I hope in that space that you guys are able to step out of it and don't let representatives talk on behalf of you guys, and you guys stay in that mode and be like, hey, look, if this is becoming too much, the money ain't worth it. I'd rather be with you. So, I just hope you guys have the tools and have people around you that are able to highlight those things if they start to become burdensome or troublesome, to where you're able to step out, kind of get a regather of yourself, and proceed accordingly in a way that has you guys aligned.
Absolutely. And I believe they do. And I wonder, the only thing when you were talking, it just made me think that maybe the reason why they did it is because people do want to know how it happened. Because a lot of people feel like I ain't never spinning the back. I'm never going back with somebody, but you might be blocking yourself. You know what I
Could
mean?
be.
People do can mature and maybe thinking about Ashanti and Nelly, what we know of them over the years, they might feel like let's do this to help people realize that you can spin the block, as you want to put the topic, and it can be beautiful. And I do think because they're older, they have done the work and they will have the tools. I think it's risky, but I just thought of this that maybe they're doing it to maybe help other people because so many people yearn to find love and it's not easy. And so if they can share their story, maybe that can help a lot of people because they do have influence. So I want to pass the baton to Aunt Weezy to talk about sports. I will say though, Ed, I don't, you're probably not going to talk about this, but a lot of people talked about Kristen, who sung the national anthem. She wanted to put her own rendition on it to pay respects to Oklahoma, but some people in Oklahoma said, no, we don't want your rendition. We want the regular rendition. Keep the vibrato to yourself. And she said, say what you want to say. I ain't apologizing. I did especially the way I wanted to do it. And girl, from an artist to artist, sometimes you got to stand down on what you believe in and how you delivered it because I know a lot of people actually enjoyed it. But anyway, Aunt Weezy,
Oh yeah, she
yeah.
sung Game 7. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, who is it? Yeah, she put her old. Yeah, that didn't really go well. Um,
Yeah, the Star Spangled Banner, but
yeah, yeah, a lot of people that didn't really go well. Okay, I was trying to I had to get reacquainted. But yes, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that didn't really go well. Me, we're artists, so I'm not terrible I mean, I'm not mad at the rendition. Um,
listen,
But
it
I
was
know a lot of
a
people did
bar.
kind of feel a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They get
they
their little
did.
panties in a wad.
Yeah,
Um, but that's what I was going to talk about actually,
that's good.
was Game 7. I think we were on our way to see one of the best Game 7s we've ever seen, especially in a long time, considering we haven't had a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, since Cleveland and Golden State,
Mhm.
maybe? Am I missing one? So we had two very evenly matched teams. I was really looking forward to the game seven. Me and a few of my boys actually went out and watched it. The bars was packed. It was lively. It was all the kinds of things, and we were on our way because Tyrese Halliburton came out smashing, and then
He
not even a few minutes into the game, he tore his Achilles,
got
and shout out to the Pacers, man. They hung, they hung
yeah,
tough.
yeah.
Um, Pause. But they hung in there. They did. They had the lead at halftime, and the third quarter they were still hanging in there. Pause, I think. But that's the last one I'm gonna say. So you guys, whatever. But and I think from a basketball standpoint, they had action. I think what happened was is that there was a couple costly turnovers. TJ McConnell, that cat be balling. There was a couple costly turnovers. And overall, so then when it starts to, as the game goes on, I felt like since Tyrese Halliburton was no longer in the game,
Mhm.
a shout out to Tyrese, man. That's you know what? I can only imagine. You literally wait your whole life, you know what I mean, to get not only get to the finals, but you get to game seven. I mean, he came out, he hit three of his first four shots. They were all threes. Like we were set up for one of the best ones because OKC they were at home. So that was going to be a nip and tuck all the way. I was really looking forward to that game, and like I said, it showed because like I said, the bars were packed, everybody was out, and it still was a pretty good game. It got away from him. But shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. He's probably going to be gone all next year. I'm actually going to do a segment on my next talk about all the Achilles injuries and kind of
Yeah.
thoughts behind that, like why that is, because there were 43, I think, Achilles tears in the whole history of the NBA. And everybody knows it's been around almost 80 years. And in the last couple years, it's almost been half of that. So there's absolutely something going on here.
Mhm.
But like there was 8 this year alone. That was more than the previous, like there wasn't 8 in 8 years in one period of time, and there was 8 this year alone. So there's
Yeah.
definitely something going on there. But just from the strategic standpoint, I felt like as much as I am a fan of Alex Caruso, who plays for the Thunder, he's a really good defender.
Mhm.
Um, but I felt like Pascal Siakam, that's the problem with the new school of basketball. And yo guys know I'll break it all the way down more. But the one issue I have is Pascal Siakam is extremely gifted. He can play defense, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can dribble. I felt like he kind of let Alex Caruso off the hook at times, especially in that situation. You just got to be bigger than he is. Like you're sitting there on the wing, and he's a great defender. So if you're out there on the wing, he can D you up. You better get on your Magic Johnson. You better go down there, get on your Joker, your Nikola Jokic. You better get down there, get him in the block, and then start your offense from there. So even if you're going to be a passer, now you're creating mismatches because somebody's going to have to come help. And now look at the quality of shots that you're getting. So I just felt like that was an area that they still could have exposed. It's very unlikely they would have won simply because SGA he's that dude. You guys know I'm a big fan of SGA, but
Yeah.
I do feel like, especially with the way you guys were able to play defense up to that point, and with respect to how the game was flowing, I felt like you had action to keep yourself in it, possession by possession. But once they went on that run, once they got down by like 11, even though 11 is not an insurmountable league in the NBA, as we all know, I just felt like they didn't have enough firepower, number one. And number two, even bigger than that, if they were down 11, but were playing more of the style of basketball that I'm talking about, then I felt like they could have grinded it out possession by possession. But because they were still very wing oriented, shooting a lot of long shots, which led to a lot of long rebounds. OKC takes those rebounds. They're the best fast breaking team in the league. They're going to take those rebounds and they're going to get on the break and open. The next thing you know, they're down 20. So, um, but it was just unfortunate because everybody was looking forward to that. Tyrese Halliburton, man, shout out to you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, between you, Jason, I mean, in the playoffs alone, you, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, these are the stars of our game, right? All three of these people are probably not going to play all next year because it's a 10, 12-month recovery period. So
Right.
big losses from a playoff year that was literally one of the best playoff years that I've seen in the last
Oh boy.
7, 8 years. Like the competition, the level of play was extremely high. You
Mhm.
know, the new schoolers, if y'all were trying to say that you guys are better than the old schoolers, the style in which you played in this playoff series, you got a little bit of action because you guys didn't like each other. There was some disdain. There wasn't just a whole bunch of threes being jacked up. There was every possession mattered. So overall, the playoffs was a huge success. And game 7 was still cool. It was still all the things, but it was just a little, not a little, it was very anticlimactic because we just didn't get a chance to see Tyrese finish that game out. And I felt like we were in for a monumental game 7. So
I agree. And they said that Tyrese was in the back on his crutches waiting to, just be there for the team. I know it was a loss, but he was up on his crutches and at the Paycom Center just waiting for his team to come backstage. So sorry for that loss. But congratulations to the winning team.
yeah, no, OKC, and they're gonna be here for a while too. So
Yes, they are. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into our inspiration. I really like this one. So our inspiration is any fool can know. The point is to understand, and that was by Albert Einstein. Again, oh, and because I know you appreciate this. So Jasmine Crockett addressed Big P's wife, let's just say it that way. Uh
okay.
since they are ICEing everybody. So old Jasmine brought up how she got over here and that she was given the Einstein visa. And Jasmine said, "What has she done even Einstein like?"
Ooh wee.
Just watch the clip. Y'all know
Ooh
Jasmine King is
wee.
known for some big stuff, but just calling out that if we're going to call a spade a spade, let's call her out because she shouldn't be here because she definitely, according to Jasmine, does not even align with an Einstein brain. I said, Lord, that Jasmine is over.
Yikes.
But anyway, again, inspiration, any fool can know. The point is to understand, and this is by Albert Einstein. So I think about people in disagreements when I hear this, and I'll use my amazing other half, but he's good to say, "Uh-huh, I hear you," and I always go, "But did you understand?"
Mm,
Right, right. I hear you.
mm.
Yeah, but did you understand? Because if someone doesn't comprehend, they can hear you all day. But comprehension is so, so important to understanding anything that you're trying to do. So I would use this as an actress. If you get a script and you just read the lines, that's just like, I hear you. But if you get a script, you read the entire script so you can know how this character sits in this entire story. And then you start doing a backstory. Okay. In my mind, she grew up here. She had a trouble, upbringing. You know what I mean? Her father went and had maybe another family. And you start to build this backstory of this person. Now when you deliver the lines, you're not just delivering the lines, you're delivering the lines with all this backstory because you understand who she is. And the way that you're able to deliver the lines is so believable because you've become her because you comprehend. Okay, the writer put this, the writer did this, but now I've built this story. So now I comprehend and I understand who she really is. And now I'm able to bring her to art because I get who this person is. So when you're communicating, because we've been talking a lot about communication today, any fool, I heard about it. Oh, I heard that, or like the sound bites. People just take the sound bites of something. But like Aunt Wow said, well, Tiffany, I listened to a little bit more of it. So he could go a little bit deeper of what Tiffany is saying so that he can comprehend and understand what she was trying to convey. There's a saying that says, when you open your mouth, you remove all doubt. This is clearly what this is saying. Either you know or you don't know. And when you open your mouth to the person who knows, will clearly understand you don't know. So when you are in a conversation with a person and you realize that there's conflict, it is probably because you're not comprehending. That is what Albert Einstein is talking about when he says, "Do you really understand? Do you really understand?" This is so deep. This is for like I love this. I love this because it reminds me to ask questions and go deeper, to understand others, to understand a situation so that I can truly understand. Because when you don't understand, you're talking out the side of your neck. Just like these stories, we have to do some type of research on these stories so we can try to understand. We can't get everything, right? Aunt Wild and I work, jobs, we got shows going on, we got all these other things, but we do try to put as much as we can research in it so we can truly understand and comprehend the dynamic of the story that we're actually talking about. So, Aunt Weezy, I'll pass it to you. Any fool can know. The point is to understand Albert Einstein.
Yeah, that's something that that's the basis in the way I try and communicate. Right? Because and I hear you. It's funny you said that because whenever I hear that um
To share this too, I think you would appreciate it too.
whenever I hear the oh yeah, I hear you. Uh,
Right.
mm, you heard me? Did you feel me though? Like you heard me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
True wisdom lies in the understanding and interpreting that knowledge. Einstein suggests that education should focus on developing the ability to think critically and deeply about what we learn rather than just memorizing facts. This
Mm.
perspective encourages a more profound engagement with information, leading to genuine insight and wisdom. Perfect example. So,
Mhm.
we and one of my best friends for years have had this debate. We haven't had it lately. I think we reached a happy medium. But there was a period in time where he was saying people today are smarter. And I vehemently disagreed. Um, and his reasoning, which I don't fault, his reasoning is because we have everything at the drop of our hands. We got
Mhm.
a question, we just go here, we just type it in, and then we get our answer.
Right.
But
Just
we
like
got
that.
the answer,
Right.
right?
Right.
But we didn't do anything to get the answer. All
Mhm.
we did was type it in and now we have the answer.
Mhm.
That's not, I don't judge smart based on the information. I judge smart based on your thought process it took to get to that information.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot that's missing in how we communicate, how we interact, how we do all this stuff. I think it's actually way more easy to influence us today
Mm.
because the critical thinking part of the
That's
situation
what I was about to say. He talks about it. Go
is
keep
not
going.
emphasized anymore.
Oh, true. Yeah.
It's not emphasized anymore. When we were growing up, me and my sister just had this conversation. When we were growing, we were talking to somebody about this. But Zipporah Jean, anytime we had a question, Mom, why this? Da, 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 da. Okay, go get the encyclopedia. Oh no, never. It was too late now. You asked the question. So now you got to do it. There wasn't no getting up off of it.
And while people should be okay to say I don't get it, I think we have this pressure. We have to be perfect. We have to be right. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be right if you don't understand, which is why I put this up here so that you can really understand what Albert Einstein is really saying. It's okay not to know because if you don't know, I guarantee you there'll be somebody there trying to teach you and help you to understand.
Listen, and I will get right to that. But even in having to go get to the encyclopedia, there was a thought process in there, right? Even in how you had to find stuff, there's
Yeah.
a thought process in there. There was a maze. Now, it did get on your nerves. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to do that all the time today, right? But there was a thought process in there. in that what you said, the biggest proponent I have received, especially in the field of education, is when I was going to college, I was taking an economics class. Now I had to take the class again. I had to take it twice because the first time I took it, I passed it as far as the work is concerned.
Loser.
I had to take it again. You know what I mean? I had to take it again. Hey, listen, there's pressure to be perfect. I was not. I had to take it again.
Loser.
I actually passed the class on the work. I just was never in class, and attendance was part of the class. So I failed to, yeah. I failed the. I remember I met in his office and everything after the finals. I was like, wait a minute, this is my score. I did, you know me. I went in there on some math stuff. This is my score. What you mean? Hey man, how you mean? Wait, what you mean? I got to take the man. This is what I did here. Da, 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 da. And he was like, yes, you did, Mr. Wilder. You did all that, but you did not see. If you look at this here, the attendance, this meets this, and you did not. You didn't show up to
Got a
class.
58%.
You didn't show up to class. So as a result, whoop, whoop, and I left. You talk about picking up molded. Okay. All right. So I had to take the class again.
Oh man.
And he would always check for me though. Like I think he saw that my brain was turning, but I wouldn't ask the questions because I was never encouraged to ask the questions, especially in the field of education, right?
Yeah, what I say.
And he would always kind of circle back. And then like one day he just kind of stopped me after class, right? Like mind you, I'm coming to class because I don't feel like taking it a third time. So I'm coming to class, I'm doing my thing. So it wasn't like when he stopped me, I was kind of like, oh, okay, because I'm here, I'm doing my thing, I'm doing the work. And he was like, so how's everything going? Like, I know this is, he just got to be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you didn't want to have to take it again. And not, you definitely didn't want to have to take it with me again. And I told him I did not. I looked for every other professor to take it with because I did not want to take it with you again. I was mad at you. I didn't want to take it with you again. And your availability is the only thing that worked for me. And it was the biggest blessing in disguise because he was asking me about certain things with respect to the work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, again, know the information, but understanding it. So I knew enough of the information to be able to do the work, but I didn't really fully get it. Right. And so he was asking me like, well, this and that and the third. So he was like, well, what is your thought process on this? He starts going through it. I'm like, what is this cat doing, man? I'm trying to get up out of here. I'm already mad at you. You know what I mean? That I have to take this again. I'm mad at you. I'm over here on my thug. Like, I'm mad at you, fool. I ain't trying to be cool with you.
Right.
But I had said something with respect to he had asked me something. I remember I was talking about a problem and I said, well, I don't know. I could be wrong in how I thought about it. I put this answer, but I could be wrong because my thinking was this and that and the third. And he was like, oh my God, that was brilliant. How did you come with that? So I just talked through my process and he was like, what? He was like, what are you doing? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, why didn't you ask that question? I said, well, obviously I didn't ask the question, so I figured everybody else got it. Everybody else is just kind of nodding, whatever. Right. He said, do me a favor. He said, for the rest of this class and for anything that you do going forward, please ask questions. He said, the vast majority of people don't ask questions because they are afraid of what you're saying. And he said, and you have no idea how many people are going to be thankful that you ask questions, especially questions like this. Look how your brain works. Like he was over here giving me, filling my power pack. And I'm like, wow. He's like, please just ask questions. I don't care if you think it's stupid or not, ask questions. I said, okay. I said, it's going to be a lot. He said, please. So now, literally from that point going forward,
that boy will ask.
Literally every single thing.
He will ask.
Hey, listen, she will tell you. You know why I ask question? It's because
if he right at the end of a meeting, he'll be like, wait a minute, because I want to make sure
Hey, listen, Professor William Kirby. If you ever watch this, I hope he is still with us because he was an older gentleman then. We're talking 20 years ago. He was an older gentleman then. So William Kirby may not, but if you happen to stumble across another mother, please reach out. William Kirby ended up writing me a letter of recommendation that I probably still have somewhere because of not only how I came back and took the class. I think I got an A in it. It was an econ, like a business econ class too. So it's not no Rudy Poo class, number one, but it was it was me sharing my brain was what he was because of the questions I was asking. Ever since then, she'll tell you, Lisa, will tell I will ask. He empowered me so much. I don't care who I'm talking to. I'd be talking to Jeff Bezos. Hey, sorry, Jeff. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on a
Okay.
second. Hey, listen. And I know how to phrase it too. It could be me, user error. Sorry. You may have covered it. I may have missed it. Help me understand.
How
And
about
sure
that?
as heck, when you ask the question, oh my God, what's a what? Yeah, I didn't know
Oh,
too. This
oh,
and that and the
oh
third.
my gosh. Oh my God. Is it
Well,
real?
uh,
Oh my God. Is it
is
real?
it real?
My God. That's why we
Well,
are
is it
a
real?
brother, a mother from another mother. Because it
Is
only
it
takes
real?
one to start and the other one will
And
start.
is it real?
Booka checka, booka, but
Hey,
no.
well, is it real? Well, is it real?
Well, I want to shout
So
out my teacher too, Miss Felder and Miss Blake. They were amazing. So if anybody knows Miss Felder, Miss Blake, my second grade and third grade teacher, they were amazing. Teachers are so, especially those ones that are loving and caring and
the
really
ones
try
that
to set you up for success.
and that's why I always give him love
Yeah.
because he pulled me aside randomly because he saw my wheels turning, right? Who
Mhm.
takes the time to do that?
Yeah. You can see in
Right?
your face like it is not clicking.
It's not clicking, player. And I got a pretty good noodle up here. It's not clicking. And not only do I have a pretty good noodle up here, he pulled me aside because he felt like I have a pretty good noodle. You're not getting it, Mr. Wilder. What's going on? Almost on some what can I do to help? Please ask questions.
And
So
was
it's
born to older parents. So you know them kids that
oh,
born to older for their brains be so abstract.
oh gosh. Yeah, yeah, for real. Um, so it just that was a roundabout way to emphasize that, but that's why even in conversation, like one of the things me and my sister talked about this too a lot, God bless her heart. Ooh, Lord, Zipporah Jean.
Yeah.
Zipporah Jean, a lot of times Zipporah Jean would ask you the same question 10 times. But the reason why is because she was hoping you would change your mind.
Mm.
I found myself doing that, but I hated when she do that because I would have to tell her, Mom, my answer is the same. You just keep asking me because you want to wear me down so that I finally say what the answer is you're looking for. So when somebody would tell me that, especially in relationships, they'd be like, yeah, but you asked me the same question. And so then I had to check myself and I'd be like, well, damn, I don't want to be that mug that I'm just asking the same question. But then I had to empower myself. I realized I'm asking the same question because you didn't answer my question because I don't know if you really
That's
understand.
it. That's it.
That's why. Little different motivation. You
Mm.
never really asked my question. You never really answered it. You talked about it, but you never really answered it.
Yeah.
Um, and that is important. So then when you're dealing with somebody, it's important then to learn how that person ticks if you're going to be dealing with them,
Yeah.
because that'll help your understanding barometer raise.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you'll find when you take that time to understand them in a certain way, then
Yeah.
now when you're talking to somebody else, you're already coming in naturally with this barometer at a certain way.
Yeah.
So now you're automatically going to be fishing to understand as opposed to I hear you. Because
Fishing to be defensive. Instead of fishing to understand, we automatically become defensive sometimes,
correct,
human beings. Oh, that's a
correct.
good one. Fishing to understand, guys. Take away from that. When someone's communicating, if you're in a conflict, fish to understand what they're trying to convey. That's deep. That's a nugget. That's a nugget. That is a nugget. We might have to do a short on that one. That's a nugget.
Yeah,
Fish
it's
to
a good one.
understand. So anyway, guys, we haven't done another mother like this in a long time, but these topics needed some in-depth, especially the story with the tragic story of the cars. We know we took a little time on that, but we want to add value to your lives. We have a little bit of wisdom, because we've been on this earth for 35 plus years, and so we want to be able to help. If God has us still here, that means He has a purpose for us to be able to help others. And that's what Aunt Wow and I want to do. We may not be the most popular right now on YouTube, but I guarantee you we are one of the ones who do care and do try to add values. We're not here to slam celebrities in any type of way. We would be slamming ourselves in that type of way because we're artists. We really are trying to seek to understand a situation and bring perspective and value to it and be able to help others. So thank you so much. If you've listened this far, we appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bar. You can go to Aunt Wow's channel. He has his show. What is it?
Talking my shut your mouth.
Absolutely. Give him your channel, Aunt Wow, too.
The Real Ant Wild. YouTube, The Real Ant Wild. And then also, it's very important that you don't just know, that you understand how dope 7/26/25 is going to be, which is why you need to buckle your seat belts. You can come to Vegas. It's going to be at the Space. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be at the Space. It's featuring the all-world Lisa Renee. She's the main feature. There'll be other interjections, as I said in my other post. I'll be one of the main ones. I'm the musical director, one of the executive producers, but it is my job is she is the bomb. My job is to help detonate the bomb. 7/26/25, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Buckle your seatbelts. The Space, you can go to the Space's website, thespacelv.com. In the event section, you'll see Buckle Your Seatbelts. You can go to officiallisarenee.org to get more information there. You can also go to The Storm Is Coming, uglyfaceproductions.com and get information there. We would love to see your beautiful faces in the building. If you're going to be in Vegas, please come. But if not, please see that view the live stream button right there. Click that button, get you a live stream, make it a watch party, do all that. And get you some more good nuggets. You know what I mean? So it's important that you don't just know this information. It's important that you understand.
Absolutely, guys. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we hope you join us our normal time, but give us a little bit of grace right now because we are so busy with Buckle Your Seatbelts. But our normal time is Friday morning. We will do our best to try to keep to that. But if we're a little late, just give us a little grace, but guarantee we will drop before the weekend is out. We appreciate y'all. We will see y'all next week. Out.